Clara had always loved art. From the sweeping brushstrokes of classic landscapes to the intense colors of modern abstracts, she could spend hours lost in the quiet, contemplative spaces of art galleries. So, when the Oakridge Gallery announced the arrival of a new, mysterious exhibit titled The Voices of Silence, she was one of the first to reserve her ticket. Rumors buzzed around the exhibit, claiming that the paintings were somehow alive. But Clara dismissed the idea, chalking it up to clever marketing. The gallery was dimly lit when she arrived, shadows creeping across the polished wooden floors and casting the paintings in a strange, almost unsettling light. The exhibit was held in a secluded wing, with signs guiding her through winding corridors until she reached a quiet, secluded room. The walls were lined with paintings that seemed ancient, their colors muted but strangely vivid. As Clara stepped inside, a peculiar feeling washed over her, as though she were not alone. She glanced around, seeing only the lifeless paintings and a few other guests who walked quietly, absorbed in the art. But as she moved closer to the first painting, a dark forest scene with twisted trees and moonlight streaming through the branches, she heard something. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakably a whisper. She tilted her head, listening closely, her pulse quickening as the whisper grew louder. It was a voice, soft and sad, speaking in a language she didn't understand. She glanced around, wondering if someone else had heard it, but everyone was focused on their own paintings. Brushing it off as her imagination, she moved to the next painting. The next one depicted an old, dilapidated mansion with lights glowing faintly in the windows. As she studied the intricate details of the building, she heard another voice, this one different from the first. It spoke in a hurried, anxious tone, as though trying to warn her of something. Clara's heart began to race. The whispers were growing clearer, each painting seemingly speaking in its own voice. She was both frightened and fascinated, unable to tear herself away. She moved from painting to painting, each one telling a story, each voice unique. And then she came to the last painting in the room. This one was different. It showed a woman standing alone in a dark room, her back turned, facing a mirror. Clara felt a chill as she looked at it, an eerie sense that the woman was somehow aware of her presence. As she stared at the painting, she heard a soft whisper, "Don't look away." Clara's heart skipped a beat. The voice sounded closer, more real. She stepped back, looking around the room, but no one else seemed to notice. She turned back to the painting, feeling drawn to the woman's figure, as if something unspoken connected them. A sudden movement in the painting made her gasp. She was certain she saw the woman's reflection in the mirror move, her head tilting ever so slightly, as though she were looking directly at Clara. The whisper grew louder, filling her ears with words she couldn't understand but felt deep in her bones. "Find me?" The voice murmured, softer now, almost pleading. Clara couldn't shake the feeling that the woman was reaching out to her, trying to communicate something important. She leaned closer, peering into the shadows of the painted room, her mind racing with questions. Who was this woman, and why did it feel like she was alive? Just as she was about to step back, a gallery attendant appeared at her side. "Miss, we're closing soon." Clara nodded, reluctantly leaving the painting. But as she walked away, the whispers continued, faint but persistent, echoing in her mind long after she left the gallery. That night, Clara couldn't sleep. The voices from the paintings haunted her, and the image of the woman in the mirror stayed burned in her mind. She felt an overwhelming urge to return to the gallery, to uncover the mystery of the woman and the whispers. The next day, she arrived at the gallery as soon as it opened. She made her way to the exhibit, her heart pounding as she approached the painting of the woman in the dark room. But as she looked at it, her blood ran cold. The woman was no longer alone. Standing beside her in the mirror was a figure, a faint outline, barely visible but unmistakable. It was Clara. She stumbled back, her mind reeling. She hadn't been there the day before. She was certain of it. But now, as she looked closer, she saw her own reflection, standing with the woman, as though they were both trapped inside the painting. A cold shiver ran down her spine as she realized the truth. The whispers, the voices, They weren't just stories. They were calls for help, echoes of souls somehow trapped within the paintings, reaching out to anyone who could hear them. As she backed away, the whispers grew louder, filling her mind with fragments of words, pleas, and warnings. And in the midst of it all, one voice cut through, clear and desperate. "You're next." Clara ran from the gallery, her heart pounding as the whispers echoed in her mind. She knew she would never return, but deep down, she felt a lingering presence, a faint voice that would follow her forever, a reminder of the secrets hidden within the whispering paintings.